This story is horrifying, and we have to warn you, the details may be upsetting. This is 26-year-old Holly Metzen, a young woman from Lincoln, England, whose life was full of promise and possibility. Holly, with her whole future ahead of her, was caught in a marriage that was teetering on the brink of collapse. Her husband, 28-year-old Nicholas Metzen, had a history of violence and run-ins with the law dating back to 2013. Despite all that, Holly hoped for a better future, one that she would never get to see. In March 2023, someone walking along a river stumbled upon a horrifying scene. Plastic bags floating in the water, one containing a human hand. Authorities soon discovered that Holly had been murdered and dismembered, cut into over 200 pieces, and scattered around the area. Nicholas, who initially denied all charges, eventually admitted to the gruesome killing and to paying an accomplice to dispose of her body. The investigation revealed a chilling detail. In the days following Holly's murder, Nicholas had searched online for information on the benefits he would receive upon his wife's death and whether she could haunt him. As the family read victim impact statements in court, they described Holly as a victim of coercive control and manipulation by Nicholas, whom they labeled an evil monster. Sadly, this whole incident is way too common in our world. On average, every minute, 20 people are abused by an intimate partner in the United States. This all happened in 2023, but Nicholas and his accomplice will be sentenced this month.
Man, just don't understand it, man. When people do stuff like this, I know mentally they're in the right state, but when you do something so severe and stab and cut and shoot and do things repeatedly, that shit was very personal. I'm sorry. Most people who gonna do something pop ding dang, and then they gonna try to dispose the body from what we saw in these movies or shows or hear from the news. You know what I'm saying? And then they trying to get away. But this right here, that shit was personal. All that for what? Because of how a relationship and life was when y'all was together, or you want to be with this person and that person. And domestic violence is something that need a lot of light shined on it, because just as much as gun violence or black on black or white, police officers versus black people, domestic violence is right up there. We hear this more than the comfortable amount of hearing, is what I'm trying to say. And it's sad that the light isn't being shined on domestic violence, because these innocent women, and I'm not going to say it's just women that's getting hurt, men too, is out here with nobody, and they feel like they have nobody when you do have somebody. And never be afraid to speak up, because we ain't no mind reader. Can nobody understand or know what's going on unless you let us in.
This story is tragic, and we have to warn you, the details may be upsetting. This is Elvia Espinosa, a glamorous 46-year-old elementary school teacher who lived in a nice house in a wooded area in Central Florida. And this is her son, Emmanuel Espinosa, a 21-year-old med student at the University of Florida. Elvia, loved by her students and colleagues, dedicated her life to educating young minds at a local elementary school. But that's all over now. This past weekend, Emmanuel was driving home from school to attend a family gathering, and he'd asked his mother if he could stay at her place for the weekend. But when he got there and Elvia opened the door, he stabbed her to death right then and there, all while she was on a phone call with a family member. He'd apparently planned the gruesome attack for years, telling authorities his mother, quote, got on his nerves. The incident ended with Elvia's tragic death, and Emmanuel immediately called 911 and confessed to his crime. In a video posted to YouTube, Polk County Sheriff Grady Judd revealed Emmanuel's confession and his disturbed motive. Tributes have flooded in, remembering Elvia as a beacon of kindness, love, and dedication to her family and students. In a country where healthcare and support systems are often inadequate, we have to ask, what could prevent such tragedies in the future? And how many more lives must be lost before we recognize and address the root causes of such devastating violence?
My condolences goes out to that lady family. Like, how can your own kid do something like that? You know what I'm saying? Like, we don't know what was going on in the house or what kind of demons this young man was fighting, but what we do know is you do not kill your mother, a lady who birthed you, took care of you, make sure you got a roof over your head, food in your belly, make sure you was protected and a good, you know what I'm saying? I don't know if there was a good neighborhood, but he seemed like he's very privileged. I mean, ain't nowhere in the hell I'm gonna go to my mom knowing the struggles and the shit we've been through, whether if it was good or I didn't like something that didn't go my way or whatever, and I didn't agree with it, it was all good, because it's a reason for everything. And just because, you know, your parents say no, your parents say this, is a reason why. Now, I know there's people out there that just like to be controlling and do the shit just because. And I'm sorry if you're in one of those type of situations, but that still do not give you the right to take a life, because you don't have that type of high power. So with that being said, y'all need to, you know what I'm saying, get y'all mind right, because this shit is crazy.